I brought up the chat log here just to make sure my prediction in game was we're going to be pushing by wave 64. Right now it's wave 60, and I'm about to get eaten by some Spartans. So let's see how this goes. Let's see what's happening here. We go just a little bit faster so we can see this kind of happening quickly. Boom, get to the first wave. The second wave got there pretty quick. And looks like the army of Spartans is doing some pretty nasty things to my Colossus that I cannot talk about on camera. And bam, all my Colossus are now gone. Murdered. Wave 61. We're not pushing back yet. Speed it up a little bit more. Hopefully endgame me is better at this than I am after the fact. These massive flying worms are called Swarm Guardians, by the way. Those are really cool units. They spit this huge ball of acid that does tons of damage against biological units, and it does it in a pretty good splash radius too around them, so it doesn't just hit the unit they're targeting, it hits the units around them. So they're really cool. Glad he's building some. And here we are, right here, wave 63. And oh my gosh, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna stack? We stacked a. Oh, the Colossus is dead. We almost stacked a Colossus. We did stack 4, 5 Immortals, 6 Immortals. We have 6 Immortals up. That is a new record for us. I wouldn't say that counts as pushing, but it's definitely going in the right direction. And right now we can see those giant Swarm Guardian worms again. Here's their damage. Oh, that one got killed. Oops. And right there is the moment where we have Hydras up when I arrive, and that counts as stack. So here we are, wave 64. We are pushing. Looks like in-game me actually knows what he's doing, even if I don't after the fact. Here we are. We're smashing through the Terran. I've got a huge wall of Immortals at this point, a bunch of Colossus. Now some people might say he's got Vikings out there, like the enemy has Vikings and Spartans. Why haven't you built any actual anti-air? The answer to that is that in order to build anti-air, I have to use minerals. And so I chose to use them on other things that I thought were more effective. And this is a huge part of this game. It's knowing that there are multiple ways to counter the opponent. Some of them are occasionally by ignoring counters because you know that your force is going to overwhelm them. For example, my Immortal army, which at this point you can see there's a whole bunch of them in here, and they're just going to spread out and start attacking as soon as we get here. But this is kind of a wall of Immortals. That is the meta build for Protoss, and it can overcome a whole lot of things. In this case, it's overcoming some of the shortfallings I have in the anti-air department. But I now have a Tempest up. These Tempests are really, really cool units. They are a flying siege unit. They have a total of 450 hit points between shields and regular hit points. And this is their air attack. It's 39 damage normally, or 57 versus massive. What's the killer though is 15 range. Now if you remember these Spartans that were staying way back here and attacking these worms, they have 12 range. So siege units like the Tempest have even more range. Really, really powerful for that reason. But they do attack kind of slow. 2.36 attack speed is pretty slow, compared to like a Hunter Killer is at 0.87, so they're attacking almost 3 times as fast. But that's not what they're there for. They are there to stay in the back and to continue shooting because they're a siege unit. So anyway, it's wave 68 here, and we'll just go ahead and fast forward through a lot of this. Oh, looks like my computer does not like that. Okay, we're going to go off of this huge battle and just fast forward for a second. Even looking at nothing, it's still kind of going slow. So sorry, this game goes super, super fast, and there's so much happening. It is an hour-long game. You can see down here we've already played 52 minutes of it. So we're almost at the end, but it is just... It's got so many moving components that hour just kind of flies by. It feels like you've spent maybe 15 or 20 minutes playing this game, but you find out you've actually spent an hour or two. Well, not two, because it can only be 1 hour. But anyway, this is the base that I have at this point. Most people would call this, I believe the word is ugly. Most people use a build in this game, and so they already know what they're going to make before they start. This might be a good example of it. You can kind of see everything is laid out nicely and grouped together. Most of the barracks are in one spot, etc., etc. All the widow mines are together. The Vikings are together. Versus mine is more like, hey, this is what I needed right now, so that's what I built. And I don't really have a plan when I go into these games. So this is my base at Wave 72. This is his base at Wave 72, my teammate's base, that is to say. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. At this point, we're going to go ahead. We can kind of look back at the battle and see what's happening. Wave 73 now, so we skipped a lot of the combat there for a minute. We can see we finally have some Tempests stacking up. That's pretty cool. They're still dying though, and our enemy has a lot of Vikings, a lot of siege tanks. These are the Terrans' answer to pretty much every ground problem. They do a huge amount of damage, 44 regular, 65 versus armored. They also can... Let me show you real quick. This is a siege tank in regular mode, and this is just its ability to move. It has an attack here, but it hardly ever uses it in this game. And then when they get in range of enemies, they change into this right here. They kind of put their feet down and mount their big cannon, and this is where they use the Crucio shock cannon, which sounds like a Harry Potter thing, but it's not. So 44 damage, or 65 versus armored, 13 range, so tons and tons of range here, 2.8 weapon speed, so kind of slow, slightly slower even than the Tempests are, but they do an attack that has splash damage, so they're kind of like, just like a Swarm Guardian, except they're on the ground. They're there to kill a whole bunch of light units or small armored units. The smaller the enemy unit, the better they're going to hit them. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and pause here, and we'll come back for sudden death shortly.